I hope you can see me well. I can't even explain how long I took to set this camera right. I hope it's straight, but I mean, just gonna wing it like I always do. Okay, hi y'all. I am Grace. I'm back with another podcast because listen, the first one went crazy. I mean, in my standards, it went crazy. Wait, let me just check. This is top of my head. Okay, so you can see me all. First one went crazy. I'm so happy that people liked it because I really enjoy making these podcasts. And I'm so glad. Like, I actually did not think it was going to go that well. I received a lot of comments about it and a lot of people telling me I'm deep. So that's true. So I'm happy. So prepare your. This time I'm telling you that prepare your tea or whatever. It's got lips in as well. Prepare your snacks. Here is Monday and it's technically my day off, but like I love this so much that I will literally do this on my day off. So I was like, let's go. Got box of tissue in case I start crying. You probably should too. And then I got my lip gloss just in case. After I cry, I need to like set myself up again. Anyways, also guys, as you can see, I found a pop filter. Hopefully it works well enough, yeah. And I kind of wrote down what I want to say today because I obviously want to like look like I have a bit more structure. So I'm gonna like peep and creep. You can tell I've been doing my driving lessons and like peep and creep. Enough with the clownish stuff. Today, I really want to talk about friendships, as in like friendship breakups. I had a really rough year and I went through a lot of breakups, including friendship breakup. And I just want to talk about the things I've learned. And if you are going through any breakups, and I think what 2025 taught me overall is that sometimes you gotta let go of the people you love the most. And sometimes that is the right thing. And this is very tricky because I feel like naturally we think, oh my God, I love this person so much. I want to stick to them. I want to stay with them. And a lot of time because we love them so much, we are blinded by the fact that there might be things that they do that don't actually serve us that well. Because a lot of us, again, are so used to like toxic environments and like very unhealthy situations, we can accept it. But at times, I don't think we realize that if a friend is amazing, but it's got a few things that don't sit right, those few things can be seriously detrimental for your mental health, and they can stop you from being the person you want to become. I mean, I value becoming someone, or at least becoming the person that I vision so much. Like, to me, I think is one of my biggest goals in life is to always like look up for how I want to be tomorrow and work for it, and obviously still appreciate who I am today, but I'm always looking up for being seriously the best version. And if you have that value as well, bad environments with people who don't suit you can stop you. Like, and I've had this. I'm not going to talk too much about relationships romantically, but I think they kind of go like hand in hand. But I've actually had like a relationship that lasted really long, and only when I broke up with a person, I realized that I had so much more potential in life. Being with that person specifically always made me think. It made me think I wasn't good enough, that like I couldn't achieve certain things, and it got me stuck for years. And only when I broke up with that person, I started blooming. So the person that you see now in this podcast is literally I've become this way thanks to me getting rid of certain people. But with friendships, so I'm just gonna read my notes. So, first of all, lately I've been having so many dreams. Who knows me knows that I am someone who dreams a ton. I actually have way more nightmares than good dreams or very distressing dreams, but that's besides the point. I actually been dreaming a lot about my old friendships, and I've actually started dreaming about like my recent friendships that I broke up with, but also like friendships that I broke up with like long ago. Like, I'm talking about friendships in secondary school that I broke up with. So like I think this says a lot. I think these last breakups I've had are actually making me kind of re-go over my approach generally to friendships and what the previous breakups taught me. I think, like, do you know what I mean? It's like I'm reading a new chapter of the book, but my mind is kind of like, okay, but let's have a little peek at the first chapter as well, kind of thing, you know? Let me just sip. Take your sip. Don't forget, because the tea's gonna go cold. If you got a tea next to you, it's gonna go cold, babes. Immune support. I'm not sponsoring no one, but anyways. So yeah, I've had a lot of dreams. So that's also why I want to bring this today. And by the way, disclaimer: I'm gonna talk a lot about myself, and I'm sure that the people I broke up with, regardless of them having done things that I did not agree with that hurt me, and despite certain behaviors looking very nasty, in my opinion, I believe that deep down we're all gonna find the potential in us at one point. So like what I'm trying to say is I don't want this to look like I'm here to shit talk kind of thing. I'm just here to realistically look at the situation and really think of how my actions impacted my life, and perhaps if you are going through something like that, how your actions could impact your life. So very briefly, the reason why I broke up with certain people is because I've had situations in which I was expressing certain concerns, and I was expressing the fact that I wasn't really agreeing with some things they were doing, and some attitudes they were giving, especially when it came to conflict, or when it came to things like me saying no to stuff and stuff like that. And I think I didn't really feel understood. And when I raised the issue, I had a lot of backlash, and I found that the other person was being really, was using a bit of passive aggressiveness, wasn't really actually listening to what I was trying to say, but was more there ready to respond to my quote unquote attack, which obviously wasn't an attack. I wasn't trying to attack no one, but to them, it actually seemed like that. I don't think the person that I argued with, which was one of my longest friendships I've had, was really noticing that I wasn't actually there to complain out of nowhere. I was there to bring up a problem that was really hurting me. Like, I remember, like, there was this one argument we had, and I cried for, no joke, 3 days nonstop. So these were seriously affecting me. But the other person, like, when you're trying to get through to someone, and eventually you do, but before you get through to someone, you need to go through so many moments and instances of them being rather passive aggressive, or kind of gaslighting you, or shutting you down. No, you know what I mean? Like, and to me, because I grew up in very toxic relationships, like, to me, that was like, oh, the norm. But after I broke up, I realized that you should really not be fighting to get through a basic, simple concept. You should not be facing the other person being rather passive aggressive, or, you should not be facing a person being passive aggressive, or dismissing, or gaslighting. You really should not go through that. I know a lot of you will think, oh yeah, for example, I have this great friend, but like sometimes when it comes to issues, cosa c'è? Cosa c'è? Hold the mic, please. Ma quindi you didn't do it. Sono un po' acidini, però sono buoni, dai. Bravo. Grazie per il taste test. So I lost the concept now. Oh yeah, so you really should not go through that. So and other friendships where, like, I had a few friends that, like, can I be honest, were just immature, and like I wasn't really agreeing to this kind of immaturity. I also had a lot of friends in the past that kept bringing up issues, and I would then, like, give them some, like, tips on how to fix it, and they would just not really like, they would obviously appreciate me, but like, I wouldn't really see any change. And the thing about me is that I'm very picky, because I've realized that you are seriously a byproduct of your environment. So again, I'm someone who looks up to becoming better. I have this drive in me, so if I don't find someone in my life that matches this kind of drive, I kind of start getting turned off. You know what I mean? Like, it has nothing to do with the person itself. Like, the person can be great, they can be loving, but I realized that, and this happens to everyone, by the way, we suck in the energies that we have around, and these energies kind of determine our next steps. For example, if you go back and look at your friendship and relationship history, you're probably going to find that a lot of times you may have wanted to do certain things in life, but because of the person you were with, you kind of held back or you became lazy. So this is a great representation of what I mean by you suck people's energies, and they determine what you're gonna do and who you're going to become. Even if you have the best intent, you could have the best intentions, and not just that, but I can't lie, you're gonna get influenced. Like, a lot of people be like, oh no, I'm not someone who gets easily influenced. I believe I'm very strongly opinionated. However, naturally, because we are human beings, if we feel like we can relate to certain kind of people, we are most likely going to be influenced somehow. You know, when you, for example, like, you get in relationships and you start taking up their accent, or you start taking up their moves or their gestures, like, this is the proof that sometimes you may not intend to, but you are going to get influenced. So, like, for me, having friends that constantly come to me with issues, I love helping out, but when I see that there's no action behind, I start thinking, okay, me and this person don't align, me and this person don't have the same values. And this is something else, guys. Having aligned values is just so important. And it's so important because it gives you this kind of plus aside of the actual core of the friendship that usually is being loved, being appreciated, being gassed up for future plans. Like, this goes beyond the core of how a friendship is built. And if you are gonna go out there and get something, why wouldn't you want to get 100% instead of getting out there and just getting 50 or 70 because you're so scared of being alone? And me myself, I am actually the best person to pull in calls, because I actually always settled for, like, whoever was around me. I always adapted to the friends I chose in my life. And also, this is crazy, yeah? But something I did that I'm 22 and I'm realizing this now. This is insane. I had friends who never made the first move. I had friends who never texted me first. I had friends who I could go months without hearing. But as soon as they needed me, they would call me up. It didn't matter if we didn't hear each other for 3 months. If they needed to, they would call me up crying. They would call me up complaining. And I don't understand how I always allowed this to be a thing. I've realized, and this is one of the second reasons why I actually broke up with certain people mainly, is not because they done anything wrong, but it was because I've realized that I was literally, I was being used. Whether you like to hear this or not, if you have friends who only call you when they need you to, and on top of that, when you help them, they don't even show any change, not only they were just probably looking for some reassurance that they can be better one day to kind of like recreate this image of themselves, but they also used you, because when you needed it, did they call? Did they text? Did they check in? If the answer is no, they're not real friends. I don't want to hear it. Like, I'm not trying to be harsh, but this is it. You know me by now. I'm very direct. I don't hold back. I'm Italian. You know this. So this is also one of the reasons why I broke up with these people. It was really hard. It was honestly really, really hard because I love these people with every corner of my body, with every inch of me. And I was actually contemplating on breaking up with certain people for a long time. But what kept me in is the fact that those times that we went out, it was magical. Guys, it was magical. I was having the best time. Do you see? I was having if I had to follow my feelings and my sensations, I would have stuck with these people. But I knew that it wasn't good for me. And another thing that I found very detrimental is that with certain people, I was afraid to speak up. I was really afraid to speak up, following the fact that we had arguments in which, for me to get through to a conversation, I had to battle with their behavior. I had to battle and face their attitude that hurt me, because I'm a very sensitive and sensible person. Once I get attached to you, if you treat me wrong, like, I'm gonna really suffer the consequences, because when I enter a relationship, any kind of relationship, I make sure I give my 100%. I make sure I'm working for it. I make sure I take the opportunity, especially when it comes to arguments, to really um analyze myself, and the last thing I want to do is hurt someone else. You're hearing someone who grew up with this idea that you need to sacrifice in love. So I a lot of times I put myself aside for other people. So thinking about that, thinking of how I am, like, I could possibly, just out of instinct during an argument, I could instinctively put myself aside to listen to you, even though I'm her. So based on these things, I need someone that can be mature and almost, I would say, diplomatic. And I'm gonna get to this in a minute, because I then want to talk about the things that I went over and I thought about that can help someone navigate through any relationship, the tips and tricks. And some of these are actually read in books, so like I know something about it, I feel like. But anyways, if you are afraid to speak, I'm very sorry to tell you, but this is not good for you. Guys, we should not be afraid to speak to people. Let's be honest now. Whatever it is, even if I'm coming to you saying, "Look, I feel this way. I feel like what you did hurt me." And also this, I felt like a lot of times certain friendships I had, certain people would put, oh, this is such a red flag, guys. They would put other people before me, even though I had very valid points. I've had this, and it really stung. Like, I mean it. And then the funniest thing is that when the person actually realized I was right, I didn't even really get like a proper apology. Like, I just go like, "Oh yeah, you were right," and I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, I went through months just hurting and thinking about this, and wondering how could this friend put this person in front of me. And yeah, I mean, all we are speaking about now is, oh yeah, I was right. Well, you know, no shit. Guys, learn from me. I mean, these things I'm talking about are all things I allowed, are all things I let slide. Learn from me. Because this should never slide, babes. This should never slide. But again, I understand myself, because I've always had these kind of friendships, so I actually knew nothing better. Um, I think what really helped me is thinking. I actually started questioning. If our roles were switched, would I be acting the same way? And my answer started being no, 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 I wouldn't, no, I wouldn't. And that's when I clocked. Okay, maybe so. These are not good friendships. And then I stopped and thought, hey, but what if I'm being too demanding? Like, what if I'm actually, like, the way I am describing me being a friend in that position is just is super exaggerated? Like, what if I'm never actually gonna find someone who can keep up with these standards? And I was like, you know what? I was like, I don't know. That could happen. I really don't. You see, I faced the fear of the possibility of really never finding someone. But I asked myself, would I rather be around people that drain my energy and stop me from being the best version of myself? Or would I rather be alone for a bit and maybe even go years, but knowing that I'm there for me? Because the thing is, guys, trust. The way to build trust in you is by showing yourself that you can be trusted. And how do you do that? By listening to you, by taking decisions that are uncomfortable to you. For me, leaving these people was a massive proof of trust. I know now that I can trust myself. I know now that if things ever go wrong, I can be there for me, and I can do the hard bit whilst I also listen to what I really feel. I can do two jobs in once. And for me, that was like, I think that this is why I took the decisions I took, because I knew this was the right thing for me. But yeah, moving on, let me just do a little blow. Let me sip on my tea. This going cold. God, I talk too much. So yeah, I think one of the questions I've asked myself is, what are my needs? What are my needs? What do I need a friend to be for me? How can I be a friend for myself first? I started being my own friend. Don't have my phone now, but I actually started seriously acting like my own bestie. I opened up a WhatsApp. You know the WhatsApp me and you that you can do, like you can open like a solo WhatsApp chat. A lot of people use it for like reference, remembering stuff. But I actually named it as my bestie, and I started writing to myself. Like sometimes I write in the chat and I'm like, go girl, you did this today, I'm so proud of you. Or like sometimes when I'm worried, I text myself and I'm like, look, I know you're worried about this, and I reassure myself, and I basically act like my own friends. So this actually helped me to understand what are my needs, what do I really need in a friend. Because the things I need in a friend are the things I'm giving myself in that chat. And obviously, there's plenty of ways of doing this. This is just one because I find it kind of funny. Because I actually spoke with a few people and they all told me, oh, yeah, I just use this for like, info and like remembering reminders. But I actually use it mainly to chat to me and to remember. Remember that you exist. Remember that you can talk to yourself, as crazy as that sounds. Who gives a damn? Remember that you exist and you can be someone, and you being your own friend doesn't mean you can't have other friends. Because I feel like that's what sometimes we think. Sometimes we're like, oh yeah, I really want to be like the love of my life, the best friend ever. But I'm afraid that if I start doing that, I lose the opportunity of feeling validated by someone else. I think that's what we start thinking, and that's why we don't proceed. But you can start giving yourself some validation. And then eventually you want validation from other people, because in the end of the day, it's kind of human to be wanting this. Yeah, sure, you're going to get it. But how about you start from you instead of starting from the external? Why don't you start from you? Because people are going to come naturally. They're going to be attracted by this. Because it's a skill and it's not common. Another thing is, friendships can be saved only if both parties decide to become better at communicating. This is the only way. If it's one-sided, you have lost already. You're not even playing. So if you see that you are fighting to get through to someone and you're also trying to improve the communication, but this is strictly coming from you only, and let me tell you, if they say they're sorry and then they repeat the pattern, they may really feel sorry, but they're not sorry enough to be able to make a change. And a lot of times they can't make this change because the people they are surrounded by are not allowing them to get better. This is something else. Obviously, don't judge. We listen, but we don't judge. But really look at what your friends are doing outside of your friendship with them. Look at who they're hanging out with. Because a lot of times, they're not going to be able to apply themselves to you because they are actually on another pathway with a bunch of other people who really are not like you. Does that make kind of sense? I hope that made sense. And this is honestly one of the reasons why I think one friend I had couldn't keep up with me, because they were surrounded by people who were so different. Nobody was asking them to not be, I don't know, passive aggressive or a gaslighter. Nobody was asking them to, nobody was asking them to do the things I asked them to do. So how could they apply to me if then they had a bunch of other people they could just be who they already were? It does not make sense. And I get it. I hear it. That's why it didn't go on. Because we just had different pathways. And another thing, when it comes to conflict, guys, and I'm just talking about conflict in general, not just relationship, not just friendship generally, sister, brother, family, use I statements. There is no such thing as you made me this way, you made me feel this way. There is such thing as you did this and I therefore feel this way. Because you could put someone in a room with 10 people lined up. They could say one sentence and I can guarantee you that 10 people are gonna probably have different reactions. Maybe they're gonna have an overall similar kind of reaction pattern, but they're gonna react differently. This is why it is so important to take accountability, because sometimes you may have good intentions and inevitably hurt someone else, and that someone else needs to take accountability of how they feel. And I actually read this in a book and I think it changed my game. Like from now on, since I started using I statements, I can remain calm and diplomatic in the conversation and I can genuinely focus on my role. Because once you shift the responsibility, you lose contact with who you are in that argument. You don't remember anymore what your role is because you feel attacked. You feel like now actually you need to think about yourself because I'm getting accused. So use I statements. It's super important. This is going to help you. I do not believe this is going to not help someone. This is literally going to help you. It's going to change your game. And honestly, it's going to make your arguments way less energy draining. Because you know what I realized? Like, I used to be someone who got like mad and kind of threw insults and like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But not only this is toxic, I'm talking about me of like 7, 10 years ago. But not only this is toxic for the other person, because like it's nobody's fault. Let's just work this out. We're not here to beef and fight. But it took so much energy out of me. I don't deserve that. My energy is precious. I deserve to preserve it. And I had this problem with one person. Actually, I had this problem with like a bunch of people back in the days, but recently, just with one particular friend that I found like they were just snapping and having this attitude. Babes, attitude is not gonna bring you anywhere in any context, and if anything, it's just going to make you feel exhausted because you are wasting your own energy. For what? If you need to communicate a feeling, you can communicate it without being scared. And this is, you see, this is about trust actually, because if you don't trust the other person to treat you and care for you in your most vulnerable moments, you're gonna rather attack to cover up what you're really feeling. Trust is immensely important. I don't know if you can say that in relationships. And if you lack trust, then you're gonna only end up hurting you and the other person. Have an attitude and throwing insults, snapping out, saying things that you don't even mean at the end of the day, and then you go back and say, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean that," is literally just a coping mechanism because you don't want to get vulnerable. You don't want to show the other person that you're actually hurt. So what you do is you cover up the hurt with anger because anger feels safer than being hurt. If you want a really good relationship in your life, you're gonna have to really be vulnerable. And instead of choosing anger, choose vulnerability. Choose to be honest. Choose to be transparent. Choose the risk that the other person might make fun of you, might hurt you. This is where your strength is in that action. It's a strong action and it's very impactful. And there's going to be two scenarios. Rather, the other person really doesn't care about you and they're going to attack or hurt you anyways. Or the other person is going to really care and they're going to down their guard. And that's how you spot whether someone is a real friend or not. Whether someone is a real partner or not. Whether someone cares. Because when people see that you get vulnerable, the good people are going to say, okay, let's slow down. Let's calm all the waters. The waters are being chaotic at the moment. This person is making me realize that we don't need a storm. We can have a conversation in calm waters. Yeah, so in conclusion, I want to say a few things. So after these friendships, I was left alone. I did feel very lonely, but their absence did not really change my life. Actually, kind of just made me calmer. And because I actually had a point where I started getting anxiety from these patterns that I was recreating with these friends. And like I was scared to go out, anxious to talk to them. It was just anxiety all the time. But when I broke up, I did have my little grief. But then I started really thinking, okay, what friendship patterns do I want to break in the future? What do I never want to see again? Now I know that if I need to, assess whether a friend is worth my time or not, a person is worth my time or not, I'm really going to remember what my new requirements are, what my new values are. Also, As I said, your friend's behavior, this is literally one of the last things I clocked before kind of getting to that point. Your friend's behaviors are going to reflect you whether you like it or not, whether you are easily influenceable or not, whether you are very decisive about your own life or not. It really doesn't matter. This is a human thing. You cannot escape it. What you surround yourself with, you become a product. And then lastly, sometimes it's nobody's fault, which happened to me a few times. It's just you are taking different pathways and perhaps they don't align. You want to get to the candy shop, they want to get to the burger place, and you're not going to have to compromise. It's fine. If you love someone, you let them go. Even if they hurt you, even if they weren't a good friend to you, you're going to forgive and you're going to keep going. You're going to do what you need to do. You know what this really taught me? This taught me that right or wrong, I'm talking about things related to personal life. I'm not talking about the law, please. Let's not confuse this. But right and wrong, it's kind of relative to the individual. Like sometimes I thought about it this way. Some people have toxic patterns. Some people are gaslighters. Some people learn to roar and be loud during arguments because they want to feel the thrill. And as much as this can seem wrong to me, and it is wrong, in fact, it is wrong for me because it hurts me, it disturbs me. Who knows, maybe this is not wrong for them. Like, aka, wait, it's obviously wrong because it can't actually bring them really far. Like, I don't believe that someone feels amazing whilst getting insults or insulting someone in an argument. But in a way, very distortively, it works for them in order to keep their relationships intact. So this basically made me realize that to me, what they're doing is not right. But maybe if they did the same thing with another partner, which is perhaps maybe toxic, I don't know, or even maybe not that toxic, actually the other partner could cope with that. So in this case, this may feel right for them. Maybe this works for them, really. Even if that means that it works for them to keep up toxic relationships. It still works. It's a fact. Do you see what I mean? Like, let's take an example. I'm gonna try and be sensible here because I don't want the wrong message to pass by. But let's say you are in an abusive relationship where someone comes home after they drank and they kind of tell you that you are A, B, and C, and it hurts you, and then the next day, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, in that case, I'm not saying it's the right behavior, but as a matter of fact, the fact that the victim takes it and allows this to happen constantly is actually holding up the cycle. Therefore, this is not a right behavior as on human needs and rights. This is not right. Like you have no right to hurt someone. But as a matter of fact, it is right for the context because it keeps up the context. It makes it work. So what I'm trying to say is that if a friend is being toxic to you, is not right, not toxic, but if a friend is, I don't know, like too immature to understand a concept, and therefore before you even get to be understood, you need to go through a bunch of conversations where all you get is emotional unavailability. Let's put it that way. Let's say that's the case. For you, this doesn't work because you are mature, your values don't align with this behavior, and so on. But for them, they perhaps have some other relationships in which this whole talking and going through it and battling through it somehow works. Especially this is going to work if they are in a relationship that's toxic. For them, this is going to work. It doesn't mean it's right ethically, but it's right for the context. So why am I saying this? Because I got to a point where I was holding so much anger. And I was thinking, this anger started making me think, oh my God, like, am I not good enough? These people don't care. What's wrong with me? I was putting the spotlight on me. I must be the issue. But understanding this kind of concept actually started making me realize, actually, maybe nothing's wrong with me. It's just that's the way they know. These behaviors that hurt me so badly and make me want to leave, perhaps are the ways that they always use in their own relationships. And maybe it works for them. And now what they're going to do is they're going to try and apply it onto me. But simply for me, this doesn't work. And as, I don't know, I don't know everything. Like, maybe what I'm saying is completely wrong. But for me, this actually put me at peace. completely. Like, even those people who came around to me and said, oh, like, them people who I told you that were basically calling me only when they needed to. Them people, again, I thought, what am I? Like, a book, a toy, a journal? Like, what am I? But then I started thinking, hey, but maybe this is the way they approach their own relationships aside of mine. So you see what I'm trying to get? I hope this was clear. This was a long, and I was being a bit of a contortionist here with this kind of concept, explaining it. Final thoughts? Not much, I think. But definitely, this was something I was holding in for a long time. But in life, you need to do the things that scare you the most. It is true. It is really true. And there's no right way of doing them. You just do them. You just do them as they come out. It doesn't matter. There's no right way of facing a fear. The only wrong way is by not facing it at all. That's only going to bring you to things that harm you. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say today. I think I'm done. I hope I left you with some insight. I really want to know what you think. And also, really, I'm going to do a little Q&A on Instagram. So if you have any questions, feel free to pop them up. Even if you want to, like, have a little advice, pop them in. I really want to help if I can. Oh my God. If I can help, I'm always happy. Thanks again for all the support. Look, the light is kissing me. In Italy, we say il sole bacia i belli, which means the sun kisses the most beautiful ones. So, I mean, Mother Nature saying it. Don't come to me. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, comment, do whatever you want. Live your life. Live your life. And please choose people that serve you, not people who don't serve you. And if this means you're going to be alone, you ain't. You're coming to my podcast anyways. What do you want? Come on now. Stop it with that. Stop it.